Hey, and welcome to yet another episode of the Geek 2.0 podcast.
Still going strong.
Oh, yes. I'm Josh.
I'm Joe.
And if you don't know that by now, well, go back and listen to our older episodes.
Yeah.
It's the same people.
Give us the clicks.
Yes. What is it? How's the kids say? Click like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the little notification bell so you can get our notifications. Hey, guys!
No.
Well, we're YouTube stars.
No, we're not. Not yet. I don't have a face for TV. I have a face for radio.
Some of the YouTube people.
That's fair.
I'm going to be daily vlogging.
Oh my god, no.
Got your camera. Let's go.
It's just going to be me sleeping.
Hey, there's a segment of streaming on Twitch for people sleeping or laying on the couch eating.
Oh my god, that's just so weird.
And people will give them bits and pay for that in donations.
Oh, I'm in the wrong industry.
Yeah, it's weird, but... Speaking of streaming and all those sorts of high-tech goodness, we are going to look at what's coming up in the near future for, the pre-holiday phone stuff.
Yeah, it's getting that time of year again.
It's like the pre-Black Friday, pre-Christmas extravaganza with Samsung, Apple, Google releasing new devices before the holiday season.
Yeah, they got to build the hype for the holidays.
The hype machine, choo-choo! Well, actually, Samsung, I think this episode is going to actually come out the week after Samsung's event, which is on August 9th.
Okay.
So if you're hearing this, you already know what's coming.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's going to be, what, the Galaxy S10?
Unless they change the name, yes,
X.
it should be. Who knows? Who knows?
Be like a Galaxy X.
They could go Microsoft platform and call it something completely different.
Which, a lot of Apple with Mac OS 10, they've been the same thing. Windows 10 has been the same since last year or 2 years ago, 3 years when they went to Windows 10.
Yeah, I think
and they
about
stayed.
3 years.
It wasn't going to be like Windows 11 or 12. It's just going to be Windows 10 from now until whenever.
Until it's Microsoft, they will change it up. But yeah, that's why they changed their updating platform, was for that very reason, to try to keep it a standard OS in a sense.
It's a standard, yeah.
But that's not going to happen.
Well, with Samsung?
No, with Windows. With Samsung, I have no clue how they're going to name it, but I'm intrigued to see what they're going to do. The past couple of years, they've kept that edge kind of like infinity screen going.
Is there going to be a notch? Because it's funny that I said, because the new Pixel 3 XL is going to have a notch, and it's a deep notch.
Huh.
Look at the iPhone 10 with its notch, but add a quarter just below that, and that's going to be the Pixel's notch, and it has a bottom chin bezel on the bottom, which is kind of weird, because it's like, why don't you just go more all screen?
Well, and see, it's actually my one and only complaint with my S8 is the fact that I don't have a bezel all the way around. I'm one of the people that I'm not a fan of a full screen, solely for the fact I do a lot of things one-handed with the phone.
Yeah.
And I've got fat hands. So when I go to hold it, I'm already touching the
your
screen
palm is on the side,
on top of what it is that I'm trying to do. And depending on what it is that I'm doing, this falls more into mobile gaming, but depending on what it is that I'm doing, it registers as a double touch instead of a single touch because of that. And it drives me up a wall. I have to switch to two hands so I can hold it from behind using my pinkies as like a little stand.
But after a while, that's your pinky, because you're working those muscles. Like,
yeah, it's not
do you have a lift, bro?
Not with the pinkies. So to go 100% full screen, although would look really cool, you could do a lot of really neat things with it, they would have to figure out something.
Well, with the Samsung, because it's a curved screen pretty much it rolls off the edge, so to speak.
Yes.
So
I mean, there is a slight edge to it, but yes, it does kind of curve off screen.
But with all the other phones like Pixel or the Apple iPhone devices, there is a stop.
Yes,
and then
it's a
the
solid
body
edge. Yes.
Yeah. But with the iPhone, it's going to be pretty much it's with how the iPhone 10 is now. It's going to increase to what the other devices are going to look like.
They're catching up to what's already been out there for years.
Like the old, with the top and bottom chins, that's going away. It's going to have notches, and the side bezels are going to be a lot smaller. Unless you're a Pixel 3 XL, which it has, like I said, with the big, huge notch. It just looks weird.
Unless there's something specific as to why they're doing it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess they're just adding more sensors there, but really, do you need that much?
Yeah.
I mean, censor all the things.
We'd have to see what they actually come out with for the specs to know why they were doing it.
Yeah, because I don't think they're going to be doing like Face ID has Apple does with the 3D mapping for your Face ID unlock.
It wouldn't surprise me if they did, because I mean, Samsung's got it, Apple's got it.
Well, Samsung uses infrared, don't they? It's a iris detection
on the S8 and lower. With the S9, they have the full face,
the full mapping,
the same kind of. You could do the emoji talking, like everything that they do.
Which is nothing, because that is weird looking at.
Very.
Yeah. I mean, it's not saying that all of it with like animojis or now the Memoji is coming out with iOS 12. It just looks weird because like with the Memoji is basically has like that cartoon head on your body.
Oh, that's just weird.
But it's like it's your video of you or whatever your background is, but your head is this gigantic bobblehead.
Yeah. But I'm curious to see where they go with it. Obviously, they're going to try to get things into a slimmer form and function. Whether or not the phones themselves go smaller remains to be seen.
I think that small phone phase has disappeared for the past decade.
I think it's going to flux like it's been, where it's going to, just like with headphones, they're gonna get big, then they're gonna go back to small, then they're gonna get big, then they're gonna go back. It's just gonna keep doing that. And the reason that I say that, and I don't remember if we've talked about this or not, but I know Samsung does. I'm not sure about the others, but they have a patent out there for a flip phone that's full screen.
Well, it's the foldable screens.
Yeah,
that, Samsung has. No, it was a couple years ago. I think it was a Kyocera. It was an old back in Sprint. It was like 2008, 2009. That it was a dual screen phone that can fold, but it had two screens.
Yeah, it was a dual screen. But this
it was like, horrible looking, but
but this is. What Samsung has is a literal complete screen that just it's flexible and can fold.
Yeah.
Because they were also looking at it for a smartwatch phone hybrid, where it was, think of kind of like a slap bracelet, where it's a full
slaps.
It's a full screen, but you can put it over your wrist and fold it over, and it's also a watch. They've been kicking that one around for
I've been seeing it
good
like on
while now.
CES for years, or even the trade shows that happen like overseas in Asia and stuff.
My guess is the technology, like the hardware side's just not there yet.
Yeah, well, it's there, but it's to try and get this shrinking down to a consumer level device. I mean, you can have it, but it's going to be like a huge tablet.
Well, and you got to look at it more, along the lines of the. Ooh, bless you.
I was trying to keep it excited.
You got to look at it also because it's more than just the screen that you've got to include. You also got to think of the battery, and the batteries are not. Yeah, you don't want
another note.
Yeah, we don't need another exploding, especially when it's on your wrist.
Yeah, it's not enough in your pants.
So they either got to do a bunch of small batteries that are going to be chained, or they're going to have to develop some other technology. That's why I say, the screen side of it, they may have it, but I don't know if the rest of the hardware is capable yet of that kind of flexible technology.
Now, the chip sizes are... I mean, they're got ridiculous. As small as they can for now, because...
I've seen chips that are like the size of pinky nails. But
even
tiny.
Then, you can't put in a consumer device because it's so expensive.
Oh yeah,
because you're looking at devices are already over $1,000.
Yes, but there's also something to be said for bulk. There's also in the world of your Internet of Things, your Arduino.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've got pieces that are for those devices that are very, very, very small.
Raspberry Pis
aren't that expensive.
Yeah, Raspberry Pis are a full-fledged computer.
But I'm talking even just the sensors.
Yeah, but
like
sensors, yeah.
Like, actually, the company that I work for, the department that I'm in, had a monthly meeting where they were showing off some of those things, because some of the guys in our departments tinker and play. And there was one, it literally was smaller than the like the pad of my pinky. And it was a accelerometer, a gyroscope, and something else.
Right.
Was all, and it was literally like it was the pad of my pinky.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
he was holding it. It was tiny, and it wasn't
Don't
that.
sneeze.
Yeah, it wasn't that expensive at all. Which I was.
Okay.
That's what blew me away. Because I'm thinking, something like that's going to be
Yeah, a couple thousands of dollars just for that little chip alone.
under $100, easy.
Not bad.
Yeah.
And when you ramp it up to thousands in the production line.
Exactly. And it, like you're talking about, you got phones that already are going for almost $1,000 a piece, anyways.
Yeah, like I'll say it again. iPhone 10 is like the $13 or $12 or $1,300 for like high, like 256 or whatever gigs.
And the fact that people pay for it. Anyways,
that was my breaking point. When I was at $1,000. I'm like, I'm still rocking the 7 Plus.
so.
And Samsung, I mean, they're getting up there.
Oh, absolutely.
The Galaxy 9 was what, almost at $1,000. It was what, 999s?
Maybe when it first came out. My wife's got it, and I
Yeah.
think it was in the 700-800.
Yeah, pretty much any flagship phones nowadays are going to be at, now it's the standard $1,000,
which is ridiculous. But that's also part of the reason why I say the form factor and the styling will change because of that. We have the same type of phones. They're going to get big, but so's the price tag. People are going to start wanting slower. Someone's going to put out a smaller version for lesser price that's going to take off, and then it's just going to keep that fluctuation. It's just
well,
going
a
to
lot
go.
of, especially on like an Android side, there's so many phones from different price points, from the $200 up to
Absolutely
flagship pricing. And even then, the mid-range is comparable. Maybe like one or two specs aren't as great as a flagship, but they're at $500-$600.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll get your same exact experience you would get with like a Samsung or an iPhone, but at hundreds less.
Yeah. The Costco of phones.
Well, look at the what was it? The OnePlus One and the Essential phone. Both Android devices, and they're $600, but their cameras are as comparable to a Samsung, Apple, or a Pixel. I think with Pixel is actually a better camera on a lower quality phone, because a lot of people have been complaining of their Pixels. The Pixel 2 XL is starting to slow down. Like the refresh rates on their screens, like going between app to app and app and app, is like slow. You can physically, you hit back, open, and you can see the transition effects are slow.
And it's not graphically done that
No.
way? Huh. Intriguing.
And it's just one of those things that, well, it's HTC did the Pixel 2, and I think they would be doing the Pixel 3.
See, I like the HTCs, though.
I used to have HTC, was it the Hero?
Well, there was
way back in the day with a little trackpad on the bottom.
the MyTouch.
Oh, wasn't it? No, it was
MyTouch had the little trackball.
It was the Hero.
That must have been after the MyTouch then.
Mm-hmm. Because it had that scroll wheel on the bottom. It was a clickable scroll wheel.
Yeah. Because there was HTC had the MyTouch. Hero sounds familiar. I'm pretty sure that was them. They also had the M series, like the M8 and stuff like that. And those are the ones that had the speakers on the front of the phone.
Yeah, and that's actually very innovative.
I had that. It was a great
because when
phone.
you listen to something on your phone, how do you hold it? You hold it when the speaker's in the bottom. The speaker is blowing into your palm.
Yeah, or you cup it so that it comes up to you.
But when you got front-firing speakers, they call what was it? Boom sound.
Yeah.
And it was for that one year where they had bought Beats. Mm-hmm. Integrated Beats into the speakers, and of course they failed at that, and then went back to Beats by themselves, and went to Apple.
So I definitely, I could definitely see the form factor changing. Just like I also miss I'm one of the rare few, I guess you could say, that actually really enjoyed like the Windows phones, the Nokias. Mm-hmm. Those were great phones.
Oh yeah, with the Windows, the newer OS. I'm not talking about like the Windows mobile phone.
Oh yeah, no. I'm talking
back in the day.
The Windows 8 mobile, like those were great phones, but unfortunately they just didn't take off.
It wasn't promoted well that was back in it was the Ballmer era of Windows.
Well,
before Satya Nadella came on board or was CEO.
Yes, and I heard something interesting that was intriguing to me is that when Microsoft makes hardware, so their tablet, like their Surfaces, their laptops that they've been making, their phones, basically what they're doing is they do that from what I've heard. They do that knowing that they're going to lose money doing that, but they do that to show the manufacturers how to really get the most out of their systems. So they will, like for example, build the Surface like they did. And the Surface blew up, as we very well know. And then from there, the other manufacturers that can actually pump out the hardware go, okay, so here's what Microsoft's done.
Yeah.
This is what we need to emulate. And then they start doing their
and they can do it at a
of
cheaper price point. Because look at what was it, the Surface, the big screen.
The original Surface, like the tabletop?
No, this came out last year or 2 years ago. It's a huge touchscreen supercomputer that you can use a pen. And it's basically like it has a Cintiq tablet or a screen on it as well. But it was crippled by a slow hard drive. It wasn't even 7,200 hard drive RPM. And it's just the whole system was crippled because of a cutback on certain things to keep it at a certain price point.
Yeah, where they had to cut their corners for it to be affordable. Gotcha.
I mean, it was a great device. I mean, it was geared more to the because that's when the Macs weren't coming out and they were being dropped from like professional line. And there's the 5-year gap where there wasn't that much innovation.
Gotcha.
So Windows was like, or Microsoft was like, hey, we can do it, and here's something that an artist can use. You can tilt the whole thing up or put it like down 30 degrees on the table and rest in your huge like 25, 28-inch screen that you can draw on.
Nice.
Instead of, using a tablet on the table and looking up.
Yeah. I actually don't think I'm aware of that. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, I forget the name of it's a Surface because it was part of the Surface line.
Huh.
Because you had the Surface Book. It's not like trademarked like Surface Pro. But it's just one of those things where the Surface is basically like it's a standard. Like, hey, this is what is possible.
Yes.
Yes, we might annoy or drop some third parties where, hey, we're not going to make laptops or computers for you anymore because you're basically stealing our business.
But it was the same thing with their phones. Was that's why they did.
Well, that was with the Nokias.
Yes,
because that's when
they were trying
Microsoft
to show.
Nokia.
Yeah, they were trying to show what it is that is capable with their phones, but it just.
I remember when it was the 41 megapixel camera phone.
What was it? The 1080, I think, is what it was called.
Yeah,
I wanted that phone.
I did too because it was like, it's like. You can do so much. The phone and other software probably wasn't great, but it was just the fact of this huge sensor on your phone.
Well, it
was like a 3/4 inch or a 1/2 inch camera sensor.
A buddy of ours actually had that phone, and it was very nice. But I can speak from experience. The OS on it, the actual was great, responsive, smooth, like.
Okay.
There's definitely a learning curve because it's completely different. System. Yeah, and I went from Android to that, so it took a little bit. But honestly, after having it for about 6 months, I completely forgot how to use Android. When it finally came time for me to get a new phone, and I had that phone for a while, when it came time to get a new phone, Windows Phone just wasn't in the market anymore.
Yeah, it was like what, for 3 or 4 years it was
Something
out there.
Yeah,
we had a third operating system,
and there was nothing out there. Like what I had was still the latest and greatest, and I was done. I was ready for the next piece.
Yeah,
and I really wanted that big one, the 1080, but it was only through AT&T.
Yeah, that's another thing with carrier exclusives. It kind of kills your device. Because, I don't want to go on to Verizon because Verizon was $180 for a family plan and shared minute data.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Yeah, we dropped to T-Mobile. I mean, I had no problem.
As long as
we went to Yellowstone, of course, there was no service. But
that's just it. As long as you're not doing any immense traveling, you're fine. Yeah. But it was great. But once I went back, and that's when I went to Samsung. I went from the Windows Phone to Samsung. So I was like, okay, well, let me try it. I had to relearn how to do Android all over again because I got so used to it, and it didn't take long, but once you got into it, it made sense.
Yeah.
It's
like just that
with
learning
Windows.
curve.
Yeah.
It's with any operating system. You've been working with Windows for most of our lives. Mm-hmm. And if you plop a Macintosh or Linux in front of you, it's like, here you go, enjoy. And you're like, what do I do? What's this control where I can do command what? Windows key, where's that?
Well, and it was... I mean, at the time, it was also when, Windows 8 was first coming out.
That whole...
Yeah, it really threw
debacle.
people for a loop because of, not having the buttons, and it's all done with swipe and touch screen. And it was the same thing with the phones, but with the phones, it's a little more intuitive.
Yeah.
But that's what was nice about it. There wasn't, like with Android, you look for the gear. You look for
the hamburger menu.
Yeah, something to get into, like, the settings for it. Whether it's in the notification bar or whether it's in the tray where you got to hit the little 3 lines, something. With this, it was just a matter of just swipe to the right. That's it. Boom. You're in your settings. Like it's right.
A Tinder of OS.
Yeah. It's right there. It's nice and smooth. And then you swipe to the left for something else, or, and it made it real easy. It just depended on the app. You wanted to know what the app does, just start swiping, and you'll find all kinds of stuff. Whereas with the Androids, again, I get why they do it, but it almost feels like some of the stuff is hidden because they put it within the menus. And again, I understand why, but it makes it a little hard to explore. Or when you first get the app, you explore, you find all the things, and then a year later when you need it, you go, well, I know it's there, but crap, where was it?
Yeah, how do I do it again? Because you're not doing it day to day.
Correct.
So yeah, I want to talk about like the Pixel 3 because we know someone that has a Pixel.
Yes. And
his photos is actually really good from a camera phone.
Yes.
It's very surprising, and that's all from a single camera sensor. Because I know your Samsung has a single.
I'm not.
I know with my
pictures.
iPhone I have a dual that has a to do the portrait modes, which is to do the bokeh.
Yeah, I've got things on there. I don't know. I'm not into the camera aspect of it.
You got a single one.
Okay.
No, the Note 9 actually has dual camera sensors.
Okay. Yeah, my wife is the photographer. I am not. The camera's the one piece that I don't really care that much about.
It's bokeh-licious.
The whole reason I wanted that 1080 was just because it was so different, and it was like a camera. I was like, that's really cool. But I don't truly care about the camera.
Well, the best camera that you have is the one that you have on you, which is your phone.
That's fair.
Pretty much.
And a clean lens.
Oh, they just take the phone and you just wipe it on your shirt. You're good to go.
Yeah, don't worry about those small little scratches, whatever.
Well, it's Gorilla Glass, or. But yeah, it's the Pixel lineup. I want to see how they are going to go for like the third generation. It's going to be designed and built by HTC. But I want to see how 6 months down the line, because it's constantly with a lot of Android phones, you have a problem with memory leak and the system being slowed down. You either have to do a factory reset or you got to do some kind of maintenance on it.
Really? I've never had that kind of
The
problem.
thing is with Samsung, because they use a lot of their own stuff, is kind of like an optimized. I've gone through LG HTCs. I had the Samsung Galaxy 2 and 3. I stopped at the LG G3 before I jumped on the Apple bandwagon. And most of the time, after 6 months to a year, everything will start slowing down. You're going to start noticing that apps will take longer to open up, or when you go back to open trays, they go back into an open app and it just redo it. Sorry, I sneezed.
It's lingering. Yeah, I was
trying to tell you to vamp, but
no, it was just more fun that way. When I had my HTC though, I don't remember having that kind of issue. But at the same time, I don't know if people do it, but I'm very routine with the fact that like I will do a full reboot, not refresh, but just an actual reboot of my phone weekly.
Okay.
So it's clearing everything out every week.
Yeah, that's because I keep my phones like it's on all the time.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. I don't do like you said the restart.
Oh, you don't restart your phone? Okay.
The only time it does it if I do an update.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Every week I will reboot my phone, and that I think that it makes a difference. I know that it does, but I'm assuming it's also what helps with that. You know, with like the memory leak.
I used to do a lot of the rooting and ROMing.
I was always really intrigued by it.
I lived in XDA. I was constantly looking at the latest CyanogenMod mod, or even just like the Jelly Belly, whatever ROM flavor of the week. My phones were, I think the longest I had, like the G3, was maybe a month. I had a single ROM on it before I cleared it out, started a new one.
Yeah, see, it's really cool, but to me it was just a little too risky for something that you depend on so much.
That was back in the early days of Android. I'm talking like was it not KitKat, but like where all of the features that you wanted were locked into one, either to a Samsung device or it was another device that had something else that you wanted. And these ROMs, like, hey, you like the best of both worlds? Let's combine it. There you go.
They were absolutely
give you more control. But now the operating systems are so, you don't even need to ROM it anymore.
Yeah, you kind of don't unless there's certain features you're
or you
really
just want
looking
to.
for.
Yeah,
a lot of times it also comes down to the security side of it. People will ROM it in order to get access to things that you shouldn't.
Well, that was another
normally.
thing because you were getting upgrades like years after the fact. You go from like Samsung was notoriously bad about that. Like you'll buy the S2 and you won't see an update, maybe a security update 18 months later. So that's the reason is you get the ROM, so you get the latest version of Android at that time.
Yeah, HTC was also pretty bad about it because I remember with the MyTouch, I remember looking at the websites going, "There's a new version. Is it coming to my phone?" And it was never coming. And I was like,
And then I'll sit out there and go, "No, go away, peasant. Buy your new phone. It has an updated version.
Exactly.
Only another $500.
Grumble. So there's a lot of really neat things I think that will be coming out, but there's nothing specific I can think of that I'm really looking forward to.
I think how we reach like peak options. I mean, we can't.
That's hard for me to say because I'm one of those people that I can't say for certainty on things because you can only, within my realm of thought, you can only work within what you know.
Yeah.
You know, you go.
I mean, with like battery power now, and
yeah, you go back, centuries, millennia, decades. You go back forever, and people thought the world was a certain way, and obviously over time,
some people still believe it's flat.
Well, I was trying not to go there.
I went there.
You look at it nowadays, and obviously things change with what we start. Groundbreaking ideas. So. It's hard for me to think that we are at peak because we are at peak for the knowledge we have. But
true.
All it takes is for tomorrow someone to make a simple mistake and all of a sudden a whole new world is opened up for us.
It's a whole new...
You complete me. I had it in my head. I didn't want to do it.
You didn't want to do it. So I think what it is that this is going to be iterations of what we have now.
Yeah,
we'll get a little bit better camera that's a little bit better in all three. I'm doing just the basics: Apple, Samsung, and
LG, Google. Yeah.
I don't think LG has going to be bringing a new phone out. I think it was the last one.
They've been advertising a new phone.
They have?
Yeah, they've been advertising a new one, and it's their whole thing that they're banking on is their speaker, like their sound system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. HTC did that. Welcome to a couple years ago.
Well, I mean, they're trying.
I mean, we're going to see a little bit better camera sensor. We're probably going to like whatever f-stop it is now to something a little bit lower. Battery life is going to be just a little bit better.
You always have to improve battery because you're always changing the hardware. You have to make that battery last.
Memory is because we went from like 8 to 16. 16 lasted for a long time. The 64. So I think maybe 64 is just about going to be disappearing as like the minimum specs to maybe 128
or 256 if we're really lucky.
Well, that's going to be like 2030.
You never know. It's going to be your standard specs are just going to constantly increase. It's going to also depend on the size factor, what you can fit in. It's also going to depend on demand. I mean, the reason why the camera is kind of the big focal point is because a lot of the kids nowadays, out there
Snapchatting.
That's all they're doing is taking pictures of anything and everything. They're videoing anything and everything. It's just kind of it's part of their society and their life.
Yeah.
So for obvious reasons, that's why the manufacturers are like, let's hit the biggest market out there and what it is that they want, which is camera. Camera, they want the touchscreen, they want messaging, which comes with because of they're being really big with the emojis, so that's why they were trying to pull in the new emojis with the face features. And it's just,
I think let's take Samsung. I think what's going to do is on the 9th is what they've already shown in a Note, those options, and they'll probably have a dual camera Samsung Note phone coming up for the 9 or 10, whatever it is now. That is going to be moving into the phone space. They're going to move what they have in the Note side into the phone.
That's fair. With the dual camera sensor thing, I don't remember. Do you know if it's the same on the front as it is on the back, or is it different?
No, it's basically what you have now, the camera sensor. They added a new sensor next to the right or left of it, but the fingerprint sensor is still there, I believe. I have to double check, but it's
because
they made a few changes because that was a major pain point was the fingerprint sensor is right next to the camera, and you're like trying to push the camera, but now your camera's all smudged up with fingerprints.
Yeah, I don't.
That was a bad design
I don't use
choice.
the fingerprint sensor because of that.
LG had it great because it was underneath, but if you use your pointer finger to unlock because you're holding it like. Yeah,
see, I didn't like that. I didn't like the unlock button on the back.
It had the volume rockers above and on
drove
bottom.
Me nuts. My mom has that phone. It drives me nuts.
I loved it. I was like, the problem is, you pick up the phone and you hold it, and the sensor is right there.
See, when I do phone, I'm always on sides.
I mean, we're kind of doing this showing on the audio podcast.
We're showing each other.
Yeah, see, this is what you do, right?
But when I grab my phone, I always grab sides. I've never have my finger on the back because I always hated the fingerprint smudges on the camera lens. So I've just gotten out of a habit of never grabbing and touching the back of the phone. So it drove me nuts when LG did that.
I thought it was a great thing, but
to each their own. That's the point.
To each your own, right? With the fingerprint sensor on the front, with like an iPhone, with the older iPhones now. It's kind of easy to put your thumb or your finger on it. You can unlock it, but
Samsung's actually got similar.
Yeah,
saying it turns on. I don't have that piece of it, but you just right there, and you have to push hard enough, and the phone will turn on.
Right.
But they don't, unlike the Apples. There's no button for it. You just have to know that it's there.
Because they actually, the iPhone 10s, they got rid of this completely, so it's all face unlock.
Yeah, gotcha.
But even then, with the older ones, it's a this is a single pane of glass. It's not a physical button anymore. But let's go ahead and drop our phones. Not literally. Hey, we got insurance.
Yeah, that's exactly.
It's time to get a new one, right?
That's exactly why I do insurance.
We're going to go ahead and move into our main topic. Now, our main topic is a little bit more on the serious side with like the internet and how our kids are growing up and playing games online. One of the things that you probably saw it on Facebook is the how should I put it? Is the gang rape on Roblox, where a hacker had pushed some code to make physical interaction between two characters possible, and it was
simulated sexual.
Yeah. And that's not how Roblox works. The physical interaction is not there in the base code. Mm-hmm. It's just that someone had pushed through. And credit to Roblox after being shown by the mom that was happening, because I was reading is her daughter was on the iPad or a device playing Roblox while they're getting ready for bed or reading her bedtime story, and she showed her, and she was able to take screenshots of what was going on, the aftermath and all that, and send it to Roblox. The mom was saying, okay, I know it's not the
not capable. It's not.
No, the company it's not the fault of them.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
It's just this hacker or this script kiddie doing this that caused a vulnerable part of the code to be exploited. Yeah.
And so very good on the mom for not going over the top.
Yeah, going on social media and say, "Oh, this ban Roblox because this is what's happening." No, it's so probably
easy
it's a
for people
small
nowadays to do that.
It's a small happenstance that it does happen, but it's not because of Roblox say, "Yeah, we don't care."
They didn't put that in the code, intentionally.
No, it's just the nature of everything that's out there. Someone will find a loophole or exploit it as far as they can.
Absolutely.
Or bend it to what they wanted to do.
But it brings up the subject of, it's something that I know that we've talked about, or I'm pretty sure we've talked about, but regardless, it's something that definitely people are aware of, and the fact that you have to be mindful and aware of what your kids are saying and playing and doing, and not that they're necessarily doing wrong, but there are moments where they're being exposed to something that you don't necessarily want them to be exposed to, and from there you have to turn into some type of teachable moment or move them away from whatever platform it is that they're on to something that's a little more appropriate, because they're just not ready for that
yet. It's the fact that we have to discuss this. I mean, that's what we do. This is a family-oriented show, and we dive into certain aspects of tech that is more family or more like geeky. It's the basic building block of what we do.
Yeah, we want to try to give everyone the appropriate knowledge and what's out there and what to look for and our perspective on it. But
like you said, I like because the mom wasn't I want to speak to your manager type person. That she didn't go on Twitter or Facebook. Wow. Oof. Facebook. What's in this water?
I don't know, but apparently I should have accepted your water.
But instead to basically crucify Roblox for what happened.
Yeah. And the thing is, there are a lot of different games where this is possible. Not very likely, but it is possible. And as with anything, it's just something you have to be aware of, because it's very popular right now, and there are a lot of games that do have that online multiplayer interaction. And if I remember correctly, what made Roblox specifically so susceptible to this was the fact that it's a game where people build environments, and then other people around the world can jump into that environment.
Yeah, they can make their own game.
Yes.
And post it to, because Roblox, you can go on. It's like a web-based kind of game. that you can go onto a certain website, has like all the listing, all the different games on the website, and you can hit play and it'll start up after a few seconds, and you're on your way. One thing is with this, because it was hacked code, it was because Roblox didn't know at the time that this person had found this loophole and had done this. So what they did is they took all those vulnerable games offline, told the makers, hey, we're updating our systems. If you want your game to come back, you have to use the updated system that fixes what happened. And if you don't, well,
then your game's
tough luck.
Yeah,
your game's offline or it's deleted. So I think that's Roblox did the better solution instead of the freak out like everyone else does or is capable of or been doing. Say, oh my God, this bad things happen. Don't play it because it's what's going to happen to your kid.
But to also be fair to all parties involved is, I think, what made their game so susceptible to this happening is also what made it very easy for them to handle it the way that they did.
Yeah, it's a simple. It's not like, I think it's just a small group of indie developers that made the base code or the base of it. It's not like BioWare or EA or something like that. So it's a lot. It's not, I don't want to say it's open source, so to speak, but it's a lot of where you can use the API to make your own, and it's a community kind of driven. Well, this game is broken. Don't play it.
Yeah, which is what makes it really fun and interesting. But there's, aside from them, I mean, you have all your other games that are similar. I mean, for years there have been MMOs out there. I mean, everyone knows World of Warcraft. That's an MMO that's been ages now.
In the City of Heroes. I'll pour one out for you.
I have something I got to tell you about that after this.
I know Paragon chat.
No, I got a new wireless router for the house.
Okay.
And there's QoS was built into it. And you could there was an option for like programs, games, or you could just select a device. Under games, they had City of Heroes /villains listed. I shed a tear because I'm like, this is a brand new wireless router. Like, brand new wireless router. It's not like this is an old one that's been out from the market for a while. And they had in their code the game that hasn't had servers up in years. And I was like, oh, you're tearing at my heart. Anyways. With all those games, there's always interaction with people from all over the world, all types. You don't know who the other person is on the other end, which adds an interesting, fun environment. But at the same time, from a parent's standpoint, is a very stressful
because you can't. You can, if you want to be a helicopter parent, you can sit right next to them and watch them play. But eventually, you have to learn to trust your kids' level of
just
maturity.
Your parents had to do with you. You gotta let them go, and that's why it becomes a teachable moment more than anything. You gotta.
Because you don't want to scar them for life and like, oh my God, I can never play this game. Or
there are some that prefer to do that, but that's to each their own. That's
your
the
style
point
of what you do. You do you.
But with any of those games, whereas the code may not be
exploitable,
exploitable, there is chat. There's a lot of talking and a lot of interacting with those kinds of games. And it's still like that today. I mean, even now, there's a mobile game that I play that has a global chat system that you can just talk to, the whole world on. And a lot of these chat rooms that are in there, people frequent regularly, and you can see it in the chat. Hey, how's it going? Oh, long time no see. So they talk and talk, and it's all really cool. Like, it builds a community, if you will. But then there's always the people that take it too far. And if your kid's on their phone, which nowadays most of them are,
it's now they come born with the phone in their hand.
Yeah, basically, and they're playing a mobile game from the parent's perspective. They're fine. They're safe. They're playing a game on their phone. Of all the things they could be doing on their phone, go for it. Have fun. But not realizing that the group chat in there can be getting into subject matters or things,
especially nowadays.
Yeah, that you don't want them to interact with or know about or hear or say.
Well, because I play Star Wars: The Old Republic online. And as soon as I started like a new character or I started up, I always turn general chat off because it is a cesspool of just garbage. I mean, most of the time, yes, this is people. It's the Java game where they make movie titles with the word Java. It's like
fun,
Saving Private Java, or but then it devolves where you got the trolls coming in and the Trump and the racial, and it's like okay. General chat is constantly turned off. Mm-hmm. No matter what, any game I play is the same way. It's like your defaults is general in trade or something else. I go in, turn off general because I know if it's a new game, it's just a matter of time. Within minutes, some dummy is going to start spouting something.
Well, and then on top of that, you now have third party like communication apps that people use outside of games that they've met in games. There's some of them, the more popular ones are like Kick, which people use for games and for other non-game related things. There's Line, there's Discord,
which our show does have a Discord channel. Hint, hint.
All these things again are very cool, very fun, very useful tools. Just as an example, the game that I play, you get into little guilds within the game, and our guild has a line chat, and the reason for it is although there is a guild chat built into the game, it doesn't keep a running history. So if you step away from the game for an extended period of time and the guild chat's active, you're going to miss something that someone may have said to you or has asked, or, that you posted a question, but you missed the answer to because, something happened. So that's the reason they use the third party, because then there's the running chat history. You could go back years, months, whatever. So it makes perfect sense if you have an active community like that. But again, just with anything else, you are now stepping outside the game and communicating almost more one-on-one with these people, like text messages and so on and so forth.
And a lot of it has voice chat as well. Like I know TeamSpeak and Discord have voice channels.
Yes.
That you can start up or use.
And then you also, because not all of them are out there, but if the game had any type of security measures put into place, as an example, this game that I'm playing, you can't put profanity. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's very easy workarounds for it, but if you type a standard profanity word, it immediately, as soon as you send it, it changes it to all stars.
Well, that's the same thing with Roblox. It's because it's the parental features are defaulted in that even if you put in, I think someone's putting in like a fanny pack, fanny comes up.
Yes.
Hashtagged, like all letters are hashtags.
It's actually really, really funny because in this game there's not a parental features that you can turn on or off. That's just the game. Mm-hmm. But it is funny because some people will put, like you were saying, fanny pack, or even a word that, like, we'll just use the word assassin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there is a character in the game that is an assassin. It's like, because there's different level, water, fire, wind, and it's like assassin or whatever. So they'll just be like, hey, is the wind assassin any good? I just got it. And it'll say, is the wind in any good?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter where.
It's a little too aggressive in the sense.
It doesn't matter where it's at. It's just if it sees that, even if it's in the middle of another word, it's going to star it out, which makes it kind of funny.
Yeah. Well, another thing, because a lot of people can work around it, they'll substitute different letters for what they're meaning. Mm-hmm. So I've seen the gif of something, it's a racial word that they put in to work around the censorship of the chat.
Like doing dollar signs for S's, at signs for A's, stuff like that.
So, I mean, they'll still have that capability of people working around the system.
There's always that. But once you step out of those games and start using the third-party chat apps, there's no security anymore because those are just standard communication.
Yeah.
So that's something you have to be aware of and you have to be careful of. There was, a story that I don't remember how long ago, but it was pretty recent this year that I came across, where there was a teenage daughter. It was 16 or under. I don't quite remember the exact age. Same thing, was on Discord, ended up talking to people like you do. And this one particular guy, I don't remember the reasoning or the story or whatever, but he flew. He wasn't even, this happened here in America, but the gentleman was from outside of America.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Flew into America, into the state where they lived, and showed up at the door of this house where this girl lived.
Right.
With some crazy excuse, his car broke down, something or other, and the mom was just, something didn't seem right. Like, she had no idea of her daughter's interaction with this guy through Discord.
Yeah.
She had no idea.
The information that
just
happened.
All she knows is some guys at her doorstep trying to get into their house,
right,
using really, lame excuses. And just didn't trust it and called the police, and the police showed up, and he ended up having like duct tape in his pocket, a knife. Like, he flew there with bad intentions. Like, this wasn't just an accident. He had bad intentions, and thankfully everything turned out okay.
Yeah, I mean, but on the other hand, there's some of those, it does happen where it doesn't turn out okay.
Absolutely, and God forbid if only the kid was home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, who knows what would have happened. So it's one of those things, like, something very simple can go very wrong very quickly. And that's, unfortunately, it's a tough job for the parents to be aware and mindful of these things.
Especially in this day and age with all the technology that's out there. There's a lot to help, but there's not much to do.
Mm-hmm. And
you have to basically do an old-fashioned way of doing things. Centering on yourself, teaching kids, like you said, teachable moments. I mean, it's just not going to go in there no one knows exactly everything to do and how to do it.
Yes.
And we're all still learning. And
there's also something to be said, and every parent's different, and I get this, but there's also something to be said about respecting your kids' privacy, especially when they get to certain ages. They have to be grown-ups. They have to learn,
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And yes, you want to protect them and you want them to be safe, but you have to kind of go, that's their phone. That's just like going into their room. You mm-hmm. knock first. You teach them respect and privacy. But at what level do you do that when you know and are aware of all of these things that could possibly be going wrong? So it's a very hard job and a very thin line to toe.
Yeah, you'll be coming up there soon.
Don't even get me started.
I know we're already doing that with ours. It's very hard because I would say, okay, let her do a certain thing, and if she fails, it's like, hey, what did you learn? Mm-hmm. How to do that a different way? Okay, let's try a different way. How it's like with Edison. How many times of 100 times of creating a light bulb and found the right one, but he did 99 times how not to do creating a light bulb.
Well, it was something that I heard recently. It was a quote. He was like, I never lose. Mm-hmm. I either win or I learn. And I was like, all right, I'll take that. I'll take it. I like it.
We'll use that. But yeah, it's just one of those things that's and with like voice chat, even within games, like Fortnite and PUBG, and then it has like a game's voice part of it. Mm-hmm. And that whole is another option where do you turn that off? Because started playing PUBG one time, and just the amount of people just swearing up and down. And I know it's like with the sound of the voice, it's like, okay, this is like some 10, 12-year-old little kid. I mean, you're in your mom's basement?
Going to town, yeah.
Yeah, it's just because he keeps doing it, just saying it.
Oh, it was the same thing with, even on like Xbox, you know what I mean? With, you get on like Black Ops and stuff like that, and it's just, as soon as you get in that room and you just start hearing, you're just like, okay, mute. Oh my God. Like, it's just, they go to it's an escape for them.
It's just an excuse to say, hey, I heard this word, I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
Like, well, you're using it not in the context, correct context.
Or there's
you're just saying it for every other word.
Yeah, or there's just no point. We're in the lobby and you're just
blah, 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 blah,
yeah,
blah,
just
blah.
blurting it all out. Or even on top of that, when you're playing Xbox games specifically, because it has your gamer tag linked to it, people that are playing can pull up your gamer tag, and depending on how you have your account set up, it'll be male, female, or they hear your voice or whatever. I believe we've talked about this before, had a friend of mine that played under his wife's account. So it was a female profile, but it was him playing, and he was playing Grand Theft Auto. And he, just for the fun of it, because he thought it was funny, he built a female character in Grand Theft Auto, had a female account, but turned off the voice chat. So everyone thought it was a girl playing, and they were sending him money.
Well, you know what a girl means is a guy in real life.
He, like, his Xbox chat would just, like, people would send him messages, like, all kinds of stuff that just was a little insane what people are doing.
It is. It's kind of, because with the Me Too movement, and it's all this, I want to say it's a bad way how looking at like the female side of things, how bad things are for them, and how things are still continuing, and even probably worse now. With like Gamergate and everything that's been going on for the past couple of years, and it's this whole society of trolls. I was reading on Twitter that someone was streaming on Twitch that is what they call troll raids, that all of a sudden their chat is flooded with like homophobic and racial and just every bad thing coming into their chat. And this is a new person, that's new streamer. They don't have any mods to help them, and they said it's basically she would turn off her stream crying and deleted everything, and that was it. So the trolls won. But it's like, okay, now what did you expect to happen? Now you're going to have all these people not going onto your system. Then you can complain, oh, no one uses Twitch anymore. Well, gee, wonder why.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to deal with having to deal with all this stuff that's coming in. And I know with my daughter, she wants to do like certain streaming stuff. And I constantly tell her, like, it's... you're not going to be like the people that you watch on YouTube. You're going to have no one watching you. You're going to have for months.
Yeah.
It's going to be like you're going to be discouraged from doing it. You just have to keep working at it.
On the flip side of the coin, though, as the parent,
I want her to branch out and do more stuff.
Well, absolutely, but at the same time, if she's live streaming on Twitch, you also kind of want her to have no one watching, because then you're second guessing all the people that are watching are like, why are you watching my daughter?
Well, the thing was with Twitch, because it's you have to be 13 or older to be actually. It's kind of a gray, because depending if you're like DJ Wheat, he's part of Twitch. He has his son on it at times. But if you're like a regular like us, a regular nobody, all of a sudden you have your kid like walk in the frame. All of a sudden, people will start reporting because you had a child in the background, and your channel gets shut down or whatnot. It's just it's a double standard. That's a whole nother. But it's just one of the things, like, I want her to, like, try new stuff, or, to get her creativeness out there.
Absolutely.
And she is great at doing stuff like that. She hasn't done it on Twitch, or haven't done her set up or anything, but she keeps asking if she wants to do it. So, okay, well, one day I'll sit here with you and we'll do something. She wants me to think of a name, a cool name for her channel and stuff like that. It's awesome on my part to think
it's bonding for you.
Yeah. But I also can see like having to deal with the troll raids and possibility and all the people coming in, or you're just a girl, you suck, and angry typing guys, and it's just like
it's a lot of negativity.
Yeah, it's just for female gamers. It's the bad thing out there.
Yeah. So it's definitely, it's not an easy subject. There's not a definitive, here, look into this, or here, you can try this or do that. Unfortunately, it's just something that you have to prep your child for, male or female. You have to kind of prep them for, and just like you would do with TV and video games and cartoons, is you have to teach that fantasy versus reality. This is fiction, this is fake.
That's a big thing for us, because we'll watch TV, some shows and stuff. She knows, okay, this is not real. Thor's not going to come down.
Even with some of the more realistic stuff, let's go horror movies. This is fake. That's an actress. That's a lot of time and effort, props, all that stuff. But you kind of have to do that same teachable moment with, video games, and like, look, there's going to be people that are going to be chatting. There's that, like, that's really without, like you were saying, being a helicopter parent standing over their shoulder at all times while they're doing this. You kind of have to do that, but it's such a new realm that you don't know what to say, what to warn for, what to prep for. Like, that's...
It's like how I would say out, like, if your daughter comes up, oh, this person said, what's a thingamabob? And you're like, I don't want to have that discussion at the moment. Oh, crap. How can I explain this? And this is what's happening in your mind. Like, when a second.
It's instant, yeah.
You're like, that's what comes out. Well, what a thingamabob is.
So I know I would really like to be interested to hear what you guys think, what you would like, how you would go about interacting with that.
Or if you had any experiences, like,
even better, yeah.
If you had experiences where your son, daughter, whatever, or cousins, or niece, nephew, if they had come across something like bad happened to them in Roblox or another game, let us know, because we'd definitely like to hear your side of the story.
Absolutely. Or if there's any type of interaction where, like we've talked about, the third-party programs or the games, if there's something that we're missing that you feel needs to be made aware of, something that's out there that we're not aware of, to let the other populace out there know and bring light to, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to share.
Yeah, and definitely let us know on our Twitch accounts. Or
Discord.
Hey, I've had that link up on a Discord server, and it's just me. It's a lonely place.
Aww.
And all my 30 other channels, servers I'm a part of.
But we've got the emails, the Facebooks, the Twitters.
Yeah, the Twitters.
The Twitters.
We even got a Google Plus page.
Hey, all right.
all right. Well, yeah, hey, thank you for joining us on another episode, and hopefully hear from you and your experiences and all that.
Absolutely.
Definitely let us know. Well, thank you again for listening, and this is the Geek 2.0 podcast, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for listening to this episode of Geek 2.0 podcast. Be sure to check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Geek 2.0 podcast. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Geek20 podcast. Don't forget to visit our website at geek20podcast.com for older episodes, news, and much more. And make sure to subscribe to our podcast through your favorite podcatcher player of choice. The Geek 2.0 podcast is part of the Collective Network.